Hello everyone, welcome back to Maverick Mods. Today, I'm gonna try and fix a paint screw up. So grab your popcorn, let's dig in. Once in a while a paint job goes bad. There's a ton of different reasons why it can happen, but it does happen. So my friend at the detail shop called me up today and said somebody had brought him a part to a car they had just painted, or I should say just had painted and it was identified as a garage painter. Nothing wrong with that. I'm a garage painter. So, it goes wrong for, professionals, garage painters just as well. And he asked, anyway, back on track. He asked me if I could try and save it. So, what the heck, we'll give it a try. See what can happen. Let's take a look. So here's the offending part. And I'm hoping that the camera will pick up what's going on here. The clear coat did not turn out well at all. And I know why it happened, and I'm not, pointing any fingers at the guy who painted it, because this can happen. Yeah, so this little area right here is where the detail guy tried to start very lightly to see if he could smooth it out, and it's just too far beyond that. Why did that happen? That's a really good question. And the professional painters out there can tell you just like that. This happened, this happened, this happened. Okay? Again, I'm a garage painter. I've learned a little bit over the years about what can go wrong because I've probably done it wrong. And in this case, what I think happened was the base coat looks good, but the clear coat just turned out bad. It orange peeled really bad, and there's a little texturing in there that's just beyond orange peel. That's what clued me in there, because I've had that happen. I can use my 30-year-old primer gun and shoot just the absolute most beautiful base coat you can imagine. But that same gun will not shoot modern clear coats, and I think that is what changed, and I think that's what got this other guy. There's a term now which I hadn't heard for years. It's called high solids clear. Beats the heck out of me what that is. I mean, if it's solid, why is it clear? What's the solid in there? That's chemistry. That's beyond me. I'm sure the painters amongst you can actually figure that out. At any rate, the modern clears seem to not do very well with the older HVLP guns. That's why I bought the HTE gun, which it's night and day. It literally is night and day in the finish, straight out of the gun. A minute ago I said, I use an HTE gun for clears now instead of an HVLP. Don't get me wrong, you can still use an HVLP gun for clear coats. In fact, I do on smaller jobs. I've got my little detail gun, the little tiny one, and I'll run clear through that all day long. A lot of times what I found is how much you thin the clear really makes a difference in how it comes out of an HVLP gun. Whereas with my new HTE gun, it seems to be a little bit more forgiving. This particular finish, the clear, not only did it orange peel real bad, and the texturing though, I think what was coming out of that gun was, it was almost like it was coming out in little tiny strings, and that's kind of what it looked like on the surface with the little weird texture to it. Anyway, beyond that, I knew the minute I looked at that, the paint that was on that door, there was no saving it. However, I do take a little bit of time here for just a few minutes to kind of show a technique or two, just in case maybe, you've got a little bad spot on your paint job that maybe you can save. And there's some techniques to try and fix just, a paint correction and correction in the clear coat. So let's take a look at that before we just dig in and repaint the whole door. Wet the surface down here. I'm gonna try some wet sanding. I'm gonna start off with 600 grit lightly and just see how it comes out. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to leave enough clear coat that we don't have to repaint the surface. We can just polish it out. But a nice clean work surface, obviously, you start with that. Another thing that helps if you're going to do wet sanding, throw your sandpaper in your bucket and let it soak for a while. When I'm wet sanding, I like to use just a spray bottle, fill it with water. You can use a garden hose if that's all you got. Let's see what we got here. The key to doing this, so I'm using light strokes. Back in the day, people said don't go in circles. I don't know about that. All I know is just go light pressure. And I want to see just how much this 600 cuts and what kind of scratches it's leaving. That's important too, because obviously if you put any big sanding scratches in there, you're going to have to polish down through those. Got a little bit of a body line here I'm trying to get a contour around. One thing's really important too, when you're doing flat surfaces like this, use a flat sanding block. Somewhere here in the shop I've got some microfiber towels. Can't find them, so I'm just using a shop rag. It's clean though. Okay. That's pretty tough. All right, I'm gonna keep working on this for a minute and just see what she looks like. Wow, boy, this is heavy. Okay. Worst case scenario, it needs to be repainted. I'm just gonna keep working my way down. I've gone about as far as I think I dare on the 600. I'm gonna switch over to 800 and I'll progressively work up to finer grits from there. All right, so on my little test spot here, I've switched over to 800 grit. What I did with the 600 was basically just knock down the really high spots. The 800, this is what's doing the work. And I'm really paying attention to the color of the water or the fluid. It's coming out milky, which that means it's only taking clear off, and that's a good thing. So the key on this, don't get in a hurry. Stop, check your work. So this is the work with the 800 grit right in this area right here. You can see kind of down here, I hit all of this with 600, and like I said, 600 is just not the right grit to start or to do your bulk work with. That 800 really does a job. You can see some scratches in here a little bit. As I progressively go with finer, I'll go with 1,000, 1,200, 1,500, and then I've got a little bit of a treat when I get to the 1,500. And you can see I've got a few spots in here. I need to go down a little bit deeper because this was uneven. So I'll take the 800, keep working on this, and get that out. Then we can go and hit it with finer grits. 3M makes a really nice product. It's called Trizac. It's designed to go on a DA sander. This is 1,500. It actually feels like plastic, but it's a sandpaper. Same thing with this. This is 3,000. It feels more like a cushion, but it's also sandpaper. And it's designed to go on a DA. It can be wet or dry sanded. I use that after the 800 and basically burned through what little clear coat was left and exposed the base coat. So paint job's done. Time for a repaint. Okay, on our little door repair, disaster has struck. There's actually a burn through right here on the clear coat. That clear coat just, it was so poorly applied. There's just not a whole heck of a lot I could do. I hit this corner right here with about 3 passes of 800, and it went right through to the primer. That's that little spot right there. So this is just an example of a really poorly painted surface. And like I said, I hit this area here just a little bit with some wet or dry 600, and it's uneven. It's just, there's no saving this. So I'm going to do a repaint on this for my buddy. I did the first sanding pass just with the 180 on the DA, and you can tell, let's see if I can get the camera with the light where we're at, just how I'm trying to come up with a word for that clear coat. So I didn't go deep enough on the first sanding pass to get all the way through the clear itself. However, if you come down here, this right here, I'm through the clear into the base coat. So this is just a really unevenly applied clear coat. So next up, I'm going to get on some hand sanding on a sanding block. Let's just block it out and see just how flat and straight everything is, and that'll give me an idea where I need to hit my spots next. So here I've just got some a flat sanding block with some 180 grit paper, and let's just see kind of where we're at. I'm going to go fairly light, and just this will give me an idea just how wavy this surface is and how much farther I need to go. After doing the sanding block, little hand sanding, the only real purpose for doing that was I want to see how flat these panels are, and just if the wave is there, is the wave in the paint or is the wave in the panel? The panel is in pretty good shape. I mean, this is a factory panel. It doesn't look like it's had any work done to it. It looks fairly good. It's got the typical stamping issues with a factory panel. In most places, I'm still in the clear coat. I haven't gotten through the base coat. You can see the spots where I have. Obviously, this is into the base coat. Down here, I'm into base coat and primer. I'm trying not to go so deep that I actually get back to bare metal, and so I've got to be careful on the edges. But it kind of showed, I've got a few little spots in here, but even just the sanding block kind of leveled things out quite a bit. So what I'll do next is another round with the DA, take some of these sanding scratches out and see where we're at. I know some of you guys probably wondered from the last segment, or the last clip, I'm not using an air-powered DA. A DA sander is a DA sander. The reason I don't do that, the reason I use this little electric guy, is when I'm using the air sander and I'm filming, the compressor kicks on so often I can't talk. It's as simple as that. This thing is pretty comfortable. If you ever use one of these though, this is a variable speed electric, and that's very important for doing automotive type work. So when I use this thing, I usually have it set down basically at 1, which is the lowest setting. But it works pretty good. It's fairly comfortable in your hands. It's a little heavy. You got to kind of carry around an extension cord with you when you use it, but it works just as good as an air DA, which is why I use it. And I've got, you know, several air pneumatic DA sanders, which I use a lot when I'm not filming. And right now, since I'm filming and you guys are watching this, that's why I use that. Last thing I'll do before cleaning everything up, checking it over, seeing if it's good enough for primer, hit it with Scotch-Brite. I use 2 different kinds. I use the red kind, the gray kind. I forget what they're supposed to approximate. I think this is supposed to be like 320 grit, and this one's 400, 240, 320, I don't remember. But this is the heavier one, this is the finer one. So I'm gonna hit the red Scotch-Brite for the primer coat. When I come back and scuff the primer coat up if necessary, then I'll use the gray. After getting the base coat done, next you're going to watch me apply 2 coats of clear. Notice the difference in the amount of overspray coming out of the gun for the clear versus the base coat. That is the difference between the HVLP gun and the HTE gun. And it's made me rethink my need for ventilation on my portable paint booth, which I didn't use this time. So I've got a little overspray on things, but at any rate, just goes to show you the difference, and the finish is night and day between the clears and the HVLP and the HTE. Hey, getting close to getting this door done. One of the final steps, actually next to last step. Any paint job is always going to get a little trash in the paint. Sometimes it's just a little tiny, dust, hair, whatever it is. In this case, I got a few little tiny dust mites, motes, whatever, but I also had bug tracks. And, it is what it is. That's what happens when you're painting, outside of a controlled paint booth. So, a little bit of wet sanding just to take that imperfections out. So next to final step, there's a product called Trizac, 3M makes it. You put it on a DA sander. You can wet sand or dry sand. I prefer to wet sand with it. So I've gone over the door with the 1500. I'm hitting it now with the 3000, and that's in preparation for final buffing, and it'll be ready. So here we go. The door is ready for the detailer to do a final buff. I hit it with, like I said, just hit the areas I needed to fix. Then I went with the Trizac 1500 over the whole surface, and Trizac 3000. And when you go with the 3000, it actually kind of starts bringing a little bit of a shine out. Of course, the buffer will finish that. So let's take this over to him, let him do his magic, and let's see how the final outcome is. I'll be the first to admit I'm not the best buffer out there, so take it to somebody who knows what the hell they're doing. Say hi, Brian.
Hey guys, how y'all doing?
This is Brian. He's with Summer Breeze, and he does absolutely fantastic auto detailing. We're going to let him do his thing. Okay, so that was first pass. Tell us what you used to get the first pass.
So what we did was use a rotary heavy wool cut pad, Meguiar's 110, and now we're going to come back with our DA blue pad from Lake Country, Angel Wax Regenerate. We're going to take out all the rotary trails. We're going to clear it out to see what we got going on and see if we need to do another cut pass, things like that.
Okay.
What do you think, Mark?
Let's take a look. Oh, heck yeah. I think it's going to look better than the rest of the truck, that's for sure.
Absolutely.
Said, when you want the job done right, go to a professional.
Absolutely. Appreciate it, Mark. Thank you.
You bet. That's going to do it for today, guys. Did I fix the paint screw up? Yeah, well, by repainting the door. In the end, that's what it needed, and it's polished, it's buffed, it's polished, it's back on the truck. All looks good. Everybody's happy. Certainly appreciate everybody watching. Big thanks to all you guys for tuning in every week. Please like, share, subscribe, notify, everything that's supposed to happen. It does really help me out. See you guys next week. Everybody, have a great day.